Hi guys, it's Veronica, and today I thought I'd do a fun little video on pocket decks. The last one that I saw that I really liked, I think Sacred Seed did it, and I have such a love for pocket decks, pocket-sized decks, that I thought I'd pull some of my favorite ones out. I just found out recently that you could get little Crown Royal bags. All you have to do is buy little bottles of Crown Royal. So it holds my go-to deck right now that I take with me everywhere. This is 78 cards by 8 coins. And I'm very happy to have learned that she's reissuing it because I think everyone should have a chance to have this beautiful deck. I trimmed the borders, which made it smaller, and I backed it with the faux black leather contact paper, which makes it water resistant and the cards sturdier because I use them in bars a lot and I take it a lot of places. And I edged it with a gold calligraphy pen. It was very bright gold, but then as I used it, the gold kind of rubbed off everywhere, and I loved it because it gives it this cool patina, and it just feels and looks like a deck that's been handed down. I do have a set that's put back that is completely pristine because I carry this around with me so much. I hated the thought of losing a card and not having the deck in its entirety. So this is the deck that I carry around with me now. You know, I'd said before, I always like having a deck on me because I can whip them out and start playing solitaire or just mess with them, and people always notice when you have a tarot deck out. And I'll talk about it, do a little 1 or 2 card readings, but it's a good way to get my cards out there. And plus I just always love playing with tarot decks. So that's my bag for my little go-to deck right now. Before this, now I have a great love for Nicoletta, but I found that wasn't the deck to be carrying around all the time because some people had some really emotional responses. So that's one that I use for one-on-ones when people pick it. The next one is the Smith-Waite Centennial Edition. I took the borders off and used like a tea stain color around the edges because I thought it went well with the color scheme. I really like the Centennial Edition. I just can't say enough about this deck. I love it. Absolutely love it. I have Pixie's Lenormand too, but I have a ton of pocket Lenormands, but tarot is what I mainly use, so I just stuck with the tarot decks and my favorite of the pockets. But this one, I carry around this one with me a lot because it's so small but sturdy still, so it's a great one for that. Another one that I trimmed down and it made it pocket size was the Thoth. I don't know the Thoth system that well, but I absolutely love the images, and this is one of the prettiest star cards ever. I think it's beautiful. The courts confused me a little bit with, like, you know, a knight and a prince and princess and queen. I know what order they go in. It just feels off to me. But I do like the cards. They're very strong and they're just beautiful. So the next one I have is, this is one of the only trades I ever did, was I traded Retta my Tarot 13 and she gave me the Tarot of the Trees. And it's a good one to carry around too. It's nice and laminated and it's a very beautiful deck. It's different. It's the back of those. I really like that deck. This deck, the Morgan Greer, I'm a sucker for a deck in a tin. Morgan Greer is the deck that made me fall in love with borderless decks. And if you get the one in a tin, it looks and feels more like one of the older versions. That's a little more matte. The backs of the cards are a little lighter blue, and it just doesn't feel as glossy. And I like that. I like either version, but this pocket size is great. And when I first used the Morgan Greer, I love the bold colors, but it being borderless, that's when I realized how much I love the images rubbing elbows together, like side by side, not being separated by a border. I just fell in love with this deck. So this is a great pocket deck. I do have, what could be cuter than the Nicoletta is a mini Nicoletta. My trimmed one is pocket size with no titles. I don't need the titles. I just, I love this deck. But on this little tiny one, I did just take the sides off and kept the titles because there'd be like nothing to it if I took the titles off. But I like making them skinny like that. Sometimes I just do the sides, and this deck is just so stinking adorable. And the cards are so little. When I ordered this on Etsy, I thought it'd be great for a pocket deck, and I saw it, and I'm like, I don't know if I have a deck that small. But I actually had a couple. So, the Stella Tarot, when it's trimmed down, becomes a pocket size. This is such a whimsical deck. I think it's really cool. And the thing about keeping the titles at the bottom, though, is there is going to be a line on the back of your cards. My friend Jamie took that line off, so it took the scroll work off, but I like the scroll work at the bottom. So since I don't read reversals, I didn't mind having the line in the back. But it's look at that, that's so cute. 6 of Swords. So it's a cute little whimsical deck. What do I have in my Scarface? Oh, the row rig. Now I have the large bordered keywords, which I would never alter. I love. But I do like having the smaller version that I cut the borders off and can just play with just the images. It's just a cool deck. So having a pocket size of it, again, the quartz it's more thoth than Waite Smith. But I can tell the cards apart easily enough without the keywords, and I just think it's a cool deck. The next one is, this is a mother piece. The mother piece I used for like a decade, and there's a shop on Etsy where I found custom bags just for the small and large mother piece. This is the small one. I have an easier time with the large, actually. These are so new and shiny, but it is a cute little deck. And the next video I do is going to be on circular decks, because I have several of them and I love them. It's because of using this for so long. One, that's why I put Justice at 8, because this is the deck I used for so long. Not really the best starter deck, but since it's what Fidel used and I got my first reading that I loved, this was the deck that I used. Here's the thing, this is why I don't read reversals though. After using this deck for 10 years, you've got 360 degrees of direction. This energy's in its natural state, or it's blocked. But if it's going straight to the right, you're pushing the energy. If it's straight to the left, you're actively resisting it. And then there's all the directions in between, which can be so specific. I love asking very specific questions, and this gives circular decks give very specific answers down to exactly where the energy is. So I love this deck. This one isn't a tarot deck, but Kelly in Truth and Story did a video on it, and it's a whole different system. It's a Curious Oracle by Holly DuFont, and I bought this when I was at BATS at the convention in San Jose, and it feels good. The cardstock is so smooth, and the images are beautiful, but the system, I have no idea. Seriously, I have looked through these cards so many times, and I'll have to watch, Kelly's video like 3 more times to get it, because the tarot system is so brilliant. The 78 cards. Other systems, I usually have to use a guidebook. I can't in the live chat, I was amazed at how she'll take a system and break it down and learn it, but she knows all these different systems, and I'm like, I'm still wrapping my head around the 78 cards, you know, much less this, but just, they're beautiful and they feel great. So I included them. I didn't include all my Lenormand decks. I have tons of those, but I pretty much stuck with tarot, the pocket tarot decks that I use and carry around. There's a couple more. This is, again, in a tin. This is the Halloween tarot, and it's very cute. It's just adorable, and it's playful. I usually have this deck out with me on the porch at Halloween. We're very popular because we also have water for the kids, and the kids are going around so dehydrated, and we have like a tub of cider or Bud Light, so we're like one of the most popular houses in the neighborhood. But I always have like this deck out with, well, this is just gifted to me, but I had a Halloween themed deck out with me, but people are more interested in getting water and cider than picking a tarot card on Halloween. Here's my Bohemian Gothic. After I got out of my Mother Peace stage and someone gave me the Mythic Tarot, this is one of the first decks, not the tiny one, but the Bohemian Gothic. I have every single edition. This deck is just amazing. Look at that Queen of Cups. But I don't use this pocket deck that much. It was more because I have every edition, so I have to have this one. The one that surprised me, the one that I actually do use, is the, where is it? My Victorian Romantic. I love this pocket size. It's got gilded edges. It feels so cool and textured, and this deck is one of my favorites. There's so much feeling, so much emotion in this deck. I just can never get over it. I love it. It's always one that's a favorite at tarot parties when people pick their decks. Look at that Four of Cups. I mean, is that not Enoir, like showing it perfect? You've got everything there. You know, look how, whatever he is. I know that it's got one of my favorite, I like the swords in this deck. That's like heartbreaking. That Three of Swords. And Five of Swords with the little kids. It's a beautiful Six of Swords, but it's the 10. The 10 of Swords. God, I love this deck. I don't take this one out much with me because I like to keep it nice and neat. I've got different versions and trimmed ones and ones that I usually take with me. I take the larger ones to parties. This isn't one I usually carry with me. This is just the camera case I got at Staples, but it has my Delos, the pocket Delos that I got off Etsy. I love this deck. The artwork it looks cutesy, but actually the artwork is great. It's not sugar shock like the Happy Tarot. It's beautiful, but the paper is really thin. So I backed this one in the black leather contact paper again too, because I do like carrying this deck with me because it's traditional but not. It's different. It's such a cool Waite-Smith clone. So I keep that in my little pink case. And what else do we have here? I'm going to show off my crystal that I got last time I was at Casadega. I love this thing. What do I have in prints? Oh, 7 Stars finally came out with a pocket-sized Deck of the Bastard. This one, I love taking this one places. She makes some like Atella and Soprafina with the trumps and with the aces and with the courts, but then she used Pixie's pips and put them all together in a way that just looks like an old vintage deck. And the pocket size has the keywords and the title. Great for carrying around with you. I love, this is the backing I picked for it. It's just wonderful. I don't have that many left. I did get the pockets. I got the tiny Secret Tarot because I love the Secret Tarot, but I don't like all the different languages. In the Petra K, when I was flipping through, I didn't mind the different languages because the script was so pretty when I kept the title. But I like the Secret Tarot. It's traditional, but it's got a cool vibe, but I wanted it to be completely borderless. So I have this little one to refer to. It's pretty easy to tell the cards, but just in case I needed a reference and to check, I like having this little one. So I think Michael's is his Orbifold. I think that's the last one I'll do. The regular size one is amazing, but the pocket size just blew me away. Hats off to him. He did this so well. It's such an innovative, cool deck, but then everything is executed perfectly. Wisdom resides within all. I love the hinge box, but what impressed me was that when I took it out, and I'm like, the edges are black. I'd never seen that. So many of us do this to our decks. And like my Penny Dreadful, I did in purple, and I've done several in black or gold. And you see gold and silver, but I had yet to see a black one. And it's perfect. And even his borders, I would never cut his borders off. They're integral to the card. And the way it goes from matte to glossy on the edges, and the elements he uses for the trumps are perfect. It's just an amazing deck. I love it. I did have to switch the kings and the pages, just because I will always see kings as earth and pages as air. But other than that, this deck is just perfection. I have just loved it. So that is my little look at my pocket decks, and the next one I think will be on circular decks. I have so many people are interested in the circular decks, but they're not sure, so I can show some different ones because I love them. I really like working with them, like I said, with using all the directions. So that's it for tonight. I hope you guys are having a great one, and I'll see you.